Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about home inspections and their importance. So when you're looking at buying a home, it is important to make sure that you're investing your money into a sound house. So if you've ever seen that movie Money Pit, you don't want to end up like Tom Hanks and spending all of your money trying to fix a house that just keeps breaking. So when you're picking an inspector, talk to your realtor because they probably have one or two, maybe three that they've used in the past that they know will provide a quality product and service to you. So if you're building an already constructed property, what you want to do is get an inspector to come out and look at all the key components. They're going to check everything: the roof, the outlets, the plumbing, the pressure of the water coming into the house, uh, the gutters, the appliances, everything. They're going to check it from top to bottom. And then one thing to keep in mind is that an inspector, they're not certified roofers, they're not certified air conditioning technicians, they're not certified electricians or plumbers, but they're trained to look for things that may not add up or may be causing issues. They'll at least know what's working right. So when they come in, they're going to do the thorough inspection. They usually take an hour and a half to 2 hours, maybe more depending on the size of the house. And then they're going to give you a report. Some will give you a report in 24 hours. There's some out there right now that are using technology that will allow them to give you the final report within a matter of minutes. They'll email it to you right from the site. So when you're looking at inspections, it's important to have perspective about the report. Now, the inspector's job is to make sure that they identify every single deficiency. That includes a crack in a wall plate, a tear in carpet, a drippy faucet. They're going to write everything down because what they don't want to do is not write something down. You come back and find it later and you're like, I would not buy this house if I knew that the outlet switch plate cover was cracked. And then go and file a lawsuit against the home inspector. So they're going to make this report as detailed as possible. It's important to, if at all possible, be there during the inspection. If not, have your realtor there during the inspection, because the inspector will take the time to show you exactly what they found and discuss the level of seriousness that involves the deficiency. If you look at a report without doing that, you may think that that house is just going to fall apart, when the reality is it's just some easy cosmetics, but they may find there's a roof leak, the air conditioning is not working properly, the oven may not heat properly, there may be too much pressure coming in from the street to the house through the water line and you need a pressure reducing valve. There's valid stuff, but you got to take it with a grain of salt. If you have questions, consult your realtor and your inspector. A good realtor will refer you to the inspector because the inspector is the subject matter expert for that inspection. Now, it's important, I find, that you have the air conditioning serviced by a technician that's licensed and bonded. They're going to come in with special equipment to test the pressure of the air conditioning system with tools that the home inspector doesn't have, not trained to use, to make sure that the air conditioning and heating system is working correctly. Those components are sometimes some of the most expensive components of a house. A new compressor could cost you $4,000 or $5,000 depending on the type of compressor it is. Those are not expenses you want to deal with after you buy a new home. So if they find an electrical issue, they're going to refer you to an electrician to have them inspected. If they find a foundation issue that they suspect may exist, they're going to refer you to a foundation expert. A plumbing issue to a plumber, so on and so forth. It's important to remember that the inspector just looks for identifying possible issues, not diagnosing them. Now, if you're doing a brand new home build, there's 3 levels of inspections that I would recommend at a minimum that you get. You're going to talk to your builder and use your realtor. They'll identify an inspector for you that will do what's called a pre-pour inspection. And what they do is they look at the level of the plumbing to make sure that there's enough fall. They'll look at the cabling to make sure that there's nothing interfering with the cabling, that when they pull it tight, that would interfere with it being kept tight. They do a lot of stuff to make sure that you're meeting those requirements necessary to have a strong foundation. I'll give you an example. When I was having a house built, I listened to my realtor. I paid the $400 and had a pre-pour foundation. The inspector came out and found several pieces of tape that were wrapped around the wrong side of the cabling, so that when they pulled it, it would pull the tape through the foundation wall and could cause issues for animal or bugs or water or whatever to get into and potentially cause an issue with the foundation. He also found that there was not enough slope in the plumbing for the sewer, so they would have they have to install a backflow valve to prevent any sewage from coming back into the house once it passes through that valve. That would have been a sticky situation. But I then had what they call a pre-drywall inspection. So once the roof's framed, the electricity's run, everything's in, they're ready to put drywall up, have a pre-drywall inspection done. By having a pre-drywall inspection done, the inspector will be able to see if there's any deficiencies with the framing, any deficiencies with the layout of the outlets, because there's certain code requirements for the distance between outlets, heights for items, things like that, potential leak sources. Another example, the house I was having built, I listened to my realtor. I got a pre-drywall foundation. Another pre-wall inspection. Another $400 spent, but he identified some stuff that was wrong with the trusses. He identified some electrical issues. He identified a few leak points that could eventually happen. So the builder was supposed to fix all those. Then drywall gets done. We're getting ready to close on the house. So I have a post drywall inspection done, right, to make sure that the utilities are working right, that the plumbing is hooked up right. It checks everything, the air conditioning, everything that a normal inspection would do if it was already a pre-existing building. So I paid $350 or whatever it was for that inspection. He identified more points that could potentially cause leaks. He identified that the brand new oven did not heat to standard, and a few other items that we needed to have addressed. The builder, right, because they know everything, said that they would fix this and that and whatever, and oh, this area over here wouldn't have to worry about leaking, it would be sealed off, etc. So we'll fast forward about 2 weeks, and we're in there doing the blue tape, putting blue tape on everything that we wanted fixed before we closed on the house. It happened to be raining outside, and guess what? One of the points that the inspector pointed out as a possible leak source, well, it did. It leaked through enough to where it's actually coming through the drywall. You could see it on the drywall. So the message behind this story is get an inspection. Trust the inspector. Make sure that if you're having a new house built, that the builder takes care of the house. If you're buying a pre-existing home and there's some items that you want taken care of, have it checked out, right? And if the repairs are done, most inspectors will charge a nominal fee to come back out to verify the repairs that were negotiated to be fixed, whether it be fixing nails on a roof that are exposed, or a dishwasher that's leaking, or it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, they usually charge $50 to $100 to come out and verify those items. I wasn't advised to have the inspector come out and verify that the repairs were made, and what happened? I had wet drywall during an inspection that we were doing for the taping about a week before closing. So sometimes the inspections cost a lot of money, but think about it. In my example, I would have had to dealt with having a backflow valve installed, a That's money. That's time. That's inconvenience. I would have had to have the roof fixed. I would have had to have some framing work done. The oven, I would have been not able to cook my brownies or my cookies. It would have taken longer because the oven wasn't heating to temperature. Uh, there's just several things they found in a brand new home. Just because it's brand new doesn't mean that's perfect. It's built by humans. So the moral of the story behind this is inspect, 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 and verify. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. Find me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Send me an email. I'd love to talk to you more about getting some home inspections done. I got a couple great inspectors that I work with. And when you're interviewing inspectors, if you don't know one and your realtor doesn't have one for you, what I recommend is you interview several of them. See how long they've been in the business. What is their background? There's a difference between an inspector that's been in the business for 10 years, has a construction background, versus one that's been in the business for 4 months and was working at Blockbuster before they closed. So do your due diligence. Spend the money if you can to make sure that you're spending a little bit upfront to save more on the back end. All right. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You know where you can find me. Take care.